Welcome to the Have Courage Summit. This is a summit that is dedicated to helping you get out of your own way and to help unleash that potential that sits within you. And this evening, I'm so excited to welcome Tiphanie Jamison onto the summit. Hello, Tiphanie.
Hi, Gary.
So good to have you here.
Laughing, right?
Oh, I love it. Just to introduce Tiphanie a bit more. So she is a qualified attorney. She is an entrepreneur and businesswoman, and also one of the most courageous people I've met recently because she is managing 4 children. Amazing. So welcome to the summit, Tiphanie. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I am alive, and so sometimes that's enough.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
We had sick babies this week. We had sick natives. That's what I call my babies, the natives of mass destruction, because they can break air. And so, it's been a crazy week, but I'm glad that we finally connected. I'm so glad you're putting together this summit.
Oh, you're very kind. Do you mind, as we get going, do you mind just giving any viewers that may not know you yet, Tiphanie, a bit more of a lowdown? So what do you do for work? What are you passionate about?
Well, okay, my passions are not, no, I'm just kidding. So, I teach people how to generate revenue while building authority and differentiation and sort of writing your own rules so you always win. Yay, right? Because you really need to do it your own way in this new connection, transformation, and attention economy. It's so important that you stand out, right? And part of standing out is just being yourself and doing it, however it works for you. I'm a single mom. I'm American, obviously. And I live in the Netherlands. And so, I had to figure out like how I'm gonna, my kids like this strange thing called food, they want to be fed. So I had to figure out how I was gonna provide for them because I don't speak the language. And so that's what I do. I show people how to take their stuff and put it out there in a way that isn't copycat or cookie cutter, but really just, fills their lives, but at the same time, they're doing it while building numbers. So we use a lot of brain psychology or brain science or buyer psychology, so you don't have to compete. You just create, yay. And lots of yay.
Do you know what's already jumping out to me already, Tiphanie, from you is just this, the abundance of energy from you, but also I think you're helping people find abundance in many ways rather than competing with other people. That's really powerful.
Yeah, well, you have to do it your own way. And there is enough for all of us, right? And I think if we're chasing after each other's stuff, then we're going to miss our own, right? So you just really need, I think it was Earl Nightingale, he said, take a look around at what everyone else is doing, then do the opposite. You'll probably be very successful. And the point is, there are always acres of diamonds in your own yard, right? So go out in your own yard and mine for your own diamonds. And law school, I had this professor, little guy, I can't remember his name, but he had like these weird glasses. I digress. And he said, he who writes the rules always wins. And it stuck with me from when I passed the bar and opened my practice. No internship, no externship, no job ever. I went from passing the bar to going law office, and everybody thought I was crazy, but I always remembered that. When you write your own rules, you always win. So that's what, I've empowered, I really don't like that word, share with people how to do. Write your own rules. That's my jam.
It's a pretty amazing jam, to be honest, because this summit is about courage. And do you know something, Tiphanie? I think it takes courage to be able to be someone that actually writes their own rules and doesn't follow the crowd.
Yeah, as you can tell by the hair, sort of doing my own thing, right? And, the easiest thing in the world is just to be yourself. And, I'm over here and I don't speak the language, and, you step out every day, you're going to get stared at, but just embrace that, man. You're just like, hey, I'm just doing my thing. And what's really powerful is most of us are parents, right? And you help your children to see that it's okay, not only okay, you should celebrate all the things that make us unique. I actually asked one of the natives, my oldest Bliss, yes, their names are Bliss, Striker, Spring, and Anchor, true. And I asked her, do you want mommy to wear normal hair? And they looked horrified. No, you know?
Beautiful.
And it just really affirmed for me that doing my own thing is a good thing for myself and for my children. And I think in a way it gives other people like permission, you know, to kind of do their own thing too. Because they're like, well, if she can do it, maybe I can do it. And, you know, if she can, you know, well, that's what you know, just do your own thing, man.
That's I just love already. You know, you're talking about how you're role modeling to your own children that it's okay to be you. I think that's so powerful, Tiphanie. So powerful.
Yeah, you have to. I have a child that has special needs anyway, and a lot of times I think my girls, because it's one of my sons, and my girls, I worried about them having to navigate being the siblings of a child with special needs, because you're always going to get stared at. If he has a moment, if he has a breakdown, you're always. So it was really just important to me for them, you know, kind of tying it into this courage thing, for them to be okay with having a brother who's a little bit different and having that courage. It takes a lot of strength, I think, even in these little awesome girls, to be able to say, hey, yeah, that's my brother, and not be ashamed and not run away, and just really, embrace differences. And I see how they are with other people who have differences because they've had that experience. So I just really want them to see that and to be okay with being, they are different anyway. They're biracial, they're binational, you know, their mom wears blue hair, or this week, you know, one time I had a rainbow, you know, you gotta embrace it, right? you just got to, you know, or else it's gonna be a really, really hard time for them.
You're just, honestly, I love your energy. I just love your energy, Tiphanie, anyway. But I just think there's so much more in your message than maybe even you realize you're giving to my viewers right now, because we are talking about courage. We are talking about going first. We are talking about being vulnerable to show more of who we really are to those that are around us, whether at home, at work, or in society. How does that come into your work at all with your clients? Is that something you have to work with them on, building that muscle to go first?
Well, that's my own muscle. Right? Because we are our clients in some way at some point in the journey, right? And I think anytime I put anything out there, all of my stuff comes up, right? And you do have to kind of just be with it and go, okay, you know, I have like this whole process where if I were my friend and she was going through this, what would I say to her, right? And so then I'm just like saying those things to myself. Okay, so if it flops, so what? You know, you got it done, you course correct, and you keep going. And I think that's sort of like, like how you have to deal with that. I think it doesn't change if you achieve any level of success. You know, Michael Jordan didn't stop practicing. Oprah has a life coach. You know, it doesn't change. It's just different problems at different levels, and your stuff will always come up. And part of, I think, why people end up in the yay rad community, as I call it, is because I'm very open about my childhood traumas. I'm very open about, you know, leaving a very abusive relationship. I'm very open about like, I don't freaking know, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And it's not like I'm not afraid. I'm just like, okay, I'm afraid, and just, you know, keep it moving because my kids like food, you know. Perspective, right? But really, you just have to keep going anyway. And don't think that any guru or anybody who's doing something that you might want to do, if you want to write that book, if you want to be that life coach, if you want to put together an awesome summit helping people like my man Gary here, your stuff will come up. If you think that it's not, you're wrong. And if you think that you're not going to want to go hide under the table, you're wrong. If you think that you won't make up every excuse, including I gotta paint my nails, therefore I cannot write the book, you're wrong. It's gonna come up. Just be with it. Like, okay, I see. I actually gave mine a name. His name is Pierre. I don't know why. Just like, what? I don't know why. You know, my clients have Agnes. You know, just pick. You know, hey Pierre, sit down. You know, I got some stuff to do. I'll be right back. You know, that's how you have to deal with it.
I'm going to come back to the serious point, but I need to clarify this, Tiphanie. Where does Pierre come from? Come on, be honest.
I have no idea. about it, and I was totally procrastinating. And I was like, damn, Pierre! And I was like, who's Pierre? But it just seemed to But I make up things, I make up funny songs, for the natives. So Pierre just seemed, I don't know, I'm not surprised it's Pierre. Maybe some subconscious something from the past. I don't know. But yeah, Pierre is his name. And, I tell Pierre, sit down, I got things to do. Gotta feed the kids. So sit down. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm now feeling a bit jealous because I had my whatever Gremlins, but that sounds a bit boring. Gremlins. I prefer Pierre. I think I need to find my own Pierre.
Give him a name. Well, see, Gremlins are like cute though. Remember, they're like all soft and fuzzy, and maybe a Gremlin would be. But I'm telling you, Pierre is like, he's like built like the Rock, man. He's like coming for me, and I gotta be all up in here with mine. So. I don't think Gremlin would have done it. Pierre's a badass, and I have to be better than Pierre. So yeah, maybe turn him into something else, like Liam.
I've got some ideas. I'll come offline and run those by you, Tiphanie.
Sounds good.
Do you know something as well, though, that's you just mentioning what you just mentioned to me. So literally, I can share with you and the viewers. 3 days ago, I had that very moment. I'm going to call mine Todd. Don't ask me why. Todd's getting me. 3 days ago, I literally sat here, Tiphanie, honestly, and I was like, who the hell do I think I am as Gary G putting this summit? Who am I? And it all came up, and I literally had about 3 hours of just, and I knew I was doing it to myself. Mm-hmm. I just had to settle and just say, it's okay, Todd, sod off. But it happens.
Anything else, right? Like you're just like, Todd, no, sit down. I'm busy. Yeah, and you're doing a great job. I mean, like, you're engaging. You got some killer speakers on your summit, and you're doing something really, really great in the world. And anytime you step into your own greatness, that stuff is gonna be like nipping at your heels. And it's only gonna come up when you are in your greatness. It's not gonna come up when you're playing small, when you're hiding under the table. It has to come up so that you can move through it and see, like, Todd, you're not that bad. Todd becomes like, the little guy in Mini-Me. Or Pierre becomes smaller when I accomplish something, or you said, Todd, hey, come with me and let's go kick some butt together, bring them with you. But it can only come up when you're in your greatness, when you're doing something powerful, when you're out there sharing with the world, when you're trying to empower other people, which is exactly what you're doing with this summit. Then yeah, right? It wouldn't come up if you were sitting at home and watching TV, watching
Netflix. What a great piece of wisdom right there. That's so true. So could you share with the viewers, maybe Tiphanie, an example of when you've really stepped, you clearly do it quite a lot with your job. Has there been a particular moment in your life where you've really stepped in, in a major way, stepped into your courage and said, no, I've got to face the fear and do it anyway? Is there anything that shows up?
We don't have that kind of time, Gary. My life is an example. Oh, damn, But I would say the most recent would be when I finally broke free of my abusive, malignant, narcissistic ex-husband. Mm-hmm. I call him the was-been. Was plus husband. Was. And, or rat bastard. Either way, but we'll say was-been. And yeah, I had been trying to figure out how to make it work. And I remember laying in the bed with my son, the one with challenges, and just thinking, well, if we just all die, we'll be free, which is crazy now, but that's what I was thinking, if we just all died, And I looked over in my daughter Bliss's eyes, that's her twin brother, they're the twins, boy-girl twins. And I looked over in her eyes and I can see the light going out. Like, how kids, they have a spark, right? And I can see like her light dimming. And I was like, Tiff, you gotta fight, And we just started listening to some Tony Robbins of all things. I don't know why. And we just started saying our incantations. I love you so much. We got this. And it was driving him crazy. Well, ultimately, after some violent episodes, I don't know what came over me. I just called the police, like during an episode, which is something that I had feared because living in this country, custody laws are a little different. You know, the presumption is joint custody in Europe, whereas in America, children of tender years the presumption is they go to the mother unless there's some kind of abuse, and even then they're like, well, how bad is it? You know, it's a little bit different. But here, that's the presumption, and so I'm thinking, I can't let them go to him. You know, if I end up in court, like, how's this going to all play out? Like, all these things, I can't speak the language, I can't record documents, I can't do anything, because he kept, like, such a tight rein on us, as many domestic violence survivors will say. And then it's like, yeah, I'm a lawyer, I have a master's degree, I taught university, I should have known better, and all of the shame and all of that, all at once. And just in that moment, I called the police, tried to hang up, they got the call anyway, they came and they took him away, and we never looked back. And you know, that was that moment where I was like, I don't know if we're gonna have food. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know anything. I literally knew nothing. You know, who's gonna believe me? Oh, she's too smart. How could she end up like this? All of that stuff. I didn't even know how to open my own checking account. Like, I knew nothing. Okay, they don't have checks over here, but you know, bank accounts, all of that stuff, all things that he handled. My parents had stolen a large sum of money out of my PayPal account. So really, my children and I had nothing. And I still said, I cannot let this happen to Bliss. I have to break this cycle. And it was the best decision I ever made. It's been scary. He has terrorized us pretty much the entire time. But in the end, I have kept him out of the house. And, you know, he pretty much stays away, you know. And I think that was like the defining moment for me that I not even really fight back, but I just said, okay, enough. Like, this is it. Like, you will not hurt us anymore. And so that's the most recent one. But I have those kind of moments like every day. I'm a single mom. So every day I'm fighting a good fight. But that's really one where you just have to know that it's gonna be okay. And you know, I would be lying if I said it wasn't hard. I don't have family. I don't have a support system at all because my family is batshit crazy. There's that. And I told you about, I had a lot of childhood trauma, like a lot, you know, and then I found out I was pregnant as a result of the attack. It was just like really a bad thing. So here I was, 3 babies, 1 with special needs, find out I'm pregnant, 1 on the way, and still I'm like, you are not coming back here. And so I want your viewers, the people who are participating in the summit, to always know it will be okay. When you choose the light, right? I chose that Bliss's light would not go out on my watch. And when you choose that, it will work out. Just keep choosing it and choose it again and choose it again and choose it again. Because there were many times when I was just like, I should just let him come back. You know, because he would take our food away, take our money, and I wouldn't have food or something like that. And, you know, my parents stole my money, so I'm like, what am I going to do? And so I have to quickly, I mean, luckily I know business, right? I can throw some stuff together and fix it. But, you know, in the midst of being so sick from being pregnant and having these kids, 1 with special needs, being in and all of this, trying to put the pieces together, you know, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You know, over here in the worst possible situation, I have sole custody of my children, thank God. And, you know, he only gets supervised visits. So all of those fears, you know, all of those Pierres, right, were just Pierres. You know, and if anything, they helped steer me to, okay, well, I need to document this. If that's my fear, I need to document that so I can prove that this is true. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by using Todd. Like, if this is coming up, use Todd to kind of, okay, Todd, I see you're worried about that. I'll send that extra email, or I'll make sure, I'll follow up. I will, you know, and that will help. So that would be my latest big, you know, one.
Well, first of all, thank you so vulnerably for sharing. I know you do talk publicly about it, but even so, it's a very poignant and very emotive topic, you know, one of the most extreme that anyone I could imagine ever dealing with. And for you to exude the positivity and just the truth, you know, the truth that it'll be okay, I think is really, really powerful. So thank you.
It will be okay. It will. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it will. Just take the first step and keep choosing the light. right? Just keep choosing, and you will have to choose it over, and you might have to choose it minute to minute, minute to minute. Okay, this is what I chose. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You know, especially in that situation, because you just don't know. But if you keep choosing it, it will be.
And do you know what also comes up for me as you're talking about this as well? And even in that most horrific, extreme situation, you're using the word a lot, choice. And I think people sometimes think when they're in those dark moments, or they're in a job they don't like, or a relationship they don't like, that they don't have a choice. But what you're saying really clearly is even in the most extreme situations, we always have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's true. Like, I think it was Will Smith. I saw something on him the other day, and he was talking about we're not responsible for the things that happen to us, but it's not our fault, the things that happen to us, but it's our responsibility to figure out how we're going to make a good life. So if we had sucky parents like I did, they really suck. Then I get to choose how I'm going to respond to that. Am I going to allow that to define me? I started university at 15, I finished university at 19, and went on to get all these degrees and stuff. Like, that was my way out, right? And so, you get to choose how you're going to respond to that. And sometimes it's like the lesser of two evils, is that how they say it? Like, it's bad and it's worse, but just choose bad. Because worse is no good, right? So, you kind of have to choose the one that's most aligned with where you're trying to go, right? Not from where you are. Because it would have been so easy to let that monster back in my house, but, because then, okay, I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about that. I know I can control what he's doing with my kids. I don't have to go to, like, all of the things that I fear. But then he's back in the house, right? So I had to go, okay, this is going to hurt a little, or this will hurt a lot. So let me go ahead and hurt a little for a little while and, see it through. And that's what people need. There's sometimes there is no good choice. There's only bad and worse. Yeah, but you get to choose. True.
Yeah, it's fascinating, because what I'm really picking up, which is lovely, is you spoke at the beginning about writing your own rules of your life, of how you operate, and I just think it's just so beautiful how that it's so congruent. I just want to feed that back to you. It's the way you speak, the way you come across, your energy. It is also beautifully congruent. It really, really is.
Thanks. Well, I think it's all the teeth. It helps with the big smile. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh no, it's
all our experiences are to help someone else, right? We don't suffer in vain, right? Like, everything that we've been through, everything that you've been through, all of your experiences said, hey, Gary, let me put together the summit, right? So, because you're saying, well, people need courage. I have this experience. Let me step out there, and it's all of our experiences, even the sucky ones, are to help someone. They're not in vain. I know it feels like it, but I have to believe that it's meant to help someone else, or else, like, damn, right? I suffer for nothing.
I have to ask you, Tiffany, have you always been have you been innately positive and energetic from a young age, or is it something that you sort of evolved into over the years? I'm imagining that you've always been this way. You're pretty hardwired.
Yeah, I think so. I am a Pisces. But I'm very much an introvert, so I've always kind of been in my own world. And in my world, there are rainbows. So, and I think, it's interesting, Gary, like with my spring, her birthday is 6 days after mine. And I see so much of myself in her, had I not been abused. And so I think I've always been that way, because she's like the rainbow painter. She's like, tell me about yourself. Let's have a talk. But, and just really want to connect with people. So I think that's who I would have been if I hadn't had trauma. With that said, what happens when you have a lot of trauma is you're trying to get through the day. And so you learn to compartmentalize, or you're just like, okay, well, that happened, but I can't focus on that right now, because, the trauma happened at night when I was asleep, but I still got to get up to go to school and do my work, right? And still, because that's my way out. So I think I focus more on how I'm going to get out than the trauma. So I've probably always, it's a combination of survival and just probably just who I've always been. But it's just better, right? To laugh, it just feels good.
Lovely. Oh no, it's totally lovely. I'd really like, I've just talked to you all day, very, very easily. I'm really interested because I want people just to learn a little bit more about, the work that you do. Can you give an example of maybe some of the transformations for people that may be watching that haven't, they're meeting you for the first time? What sort of transformations have you supported people with? Maybe where they were before to where they are today. Have you got any examples of maybe how your work?
Well, I work a lot with service professionals. It's kind of funny. I started out in like the personal development space, right? That's sort of how I came. But I found that I was able to do things that I didn't know that I knew how to do. And so I got really good at those things, like how to drive traffic or how to get like a bunch of views on your YouTube video or just writing comments, like things that just seem to come naturally, right? And I enjoyed them. And so people were like, how did you do that? And I would be like, I don't know. Okay, I'll show you. And I sort of stumbled in to what I do now, which is like business and that sort of thing. So before, I helped people like get through all of that stuff and finally get pregnant because myself, I lost 5 babies. And so, helping people kind of bust through that subconscious stuff that might be stopping your body from doing what you want it to do. For me, it was getting pregnant, staying pregnant, and delivering healthy babies. But in business, I've had people, mostly service professionals, like you have doctors, dentists, lawyers, service, right? Life coaches, business coaches, who want to stand out without being douches, who don't want to be jerks and, who just really have amazing transformation, but they're not sure how to talk about it. And they don't want to talk about it and sound like everybody else. They don't want to use what I call forgettable words. They don't want to be truxing away, having to do, 12,000 blog posts before they make a sale. They want to be able to talk directly to that buying brain, and I show people how to do that. So some examples would be, I have a client, she's an agoraphobic, and she literally can't leave her house, and she was facing once, I guess an attack happens. She's like, what am I going to do? And so she found my book, Guru Worship, which I talk about the scams and stuff in the business area, right? And she asked to work with me, and now she's totally self-supporting. She's hitting consistently 6 figures, and she doesn't leave home. And she's able to do that because, I showed her how, okay, this is how you focus this revenue while you build authority and differentiation. We don't do that first. We make money and we build authority while we make money, right? At the same time. And, now she's consistently increased her income. She works from home. She can pay for her meds and pay for her therapist and pay for all of these things. And she wouldn't have been able to do that before. People who wanted to get their ebooks done or just get, stuff done that they weren't able to get done, they're able to do. Introverts are doing live streams now when they were like, I don't want to get on live streams. Writing copy when they thought that they couldn't. Things like that, just showing them it doesn't have to be sleazy, it doesn't have to be scammy, it doesn't have to be any of that kind of stuff. Just really focus in on solving a problem for people, and they will be grateful that you helped them solve it. And stop trying to do this 12-module, 7-figure launch stuff, and just go, I'm going to show you how to get people to respond to your dating profile. Right? Something so simple. And I have clients who, this one's kind of cool. She uses masturbation as a cure for writer's block. And I just thought, well, that sounds great. Right on. And she's really a testament of courage because she comes from a very conservative state in America. And she's like the choir director. Her husband is the pastor. So really, she had to step outside of herself and create this alter ego. And she built this 7-figure business all around sexual empowerment and everything else. And it's church woman by day, goddess by night, kind of thing. But it's enabled her to open homes and orphanages and different things in schools, all in third world countries, because she's able to generate this 7-figure income completely under the radar, which is an example of you don't have to be everywhere. You just have to solve problems and have people who will pay you to have that problem solved. and you can really build a great life for yourself. So like it runs the gamut, but in the end, solve a problem, tell people you can solve it, make money. It's pretty straight, and do it your own way. Like, don't be thinking that it has to be a certain way. That's what I do.
And what powerful examples? What powerful examples? And I'm going to be asking you to introduce that lady. No, I'm joking.
I got some writer's block.
Yeah.
It's funny. I always get those kind of people who are like under the radar, probably because I'm kind of an introvert too, and I'm just like, hey, I don't care what you do. And I have this couple who are also ministers, and they started like this sexual freedom sort of camp thing that they do with couples who want to have alternative lifestyles, but keep it under the radar. And I'm like, so we put together these little retreats for them. And yeah, they are crushing it and still able to show up on Sunday. And it's not a contradiction because they're doing it together as a couple and everything else. And yeah, it's write your own rules. They're under this impression like, oh man, we love God, so we can't love sex, or we love, no. You have a calling. You write your own rules, you do your own thing. There is a way. If you're solving a problem, now they're helping other couples, other Christian couples who felt that constraint of, I can't love God and love sex. I can't love God and love S&M. Whatever. I don't want to be too graphic, but you get what I'm saying. Yes, you can, right? And there's somebody who's able to help you. And if I hadn't have been me, then they probably wouldn't have gravitated towards me, right? And been able to put that out there and help other couples. So for people who are watching the summit, if you're not being you, the people that you can help can't be helped. They need to know that you are there and available to help them. Don't talk in fruffery language, empowerment. No. Say, hey, I can help you have an orgasm. I can help you potty train your kid. I can speak directly to the problem. And the people that have that problem are like, yes, you, come here. I have this thing. Can you help me? And you'll make money. They'll be happy to pay you because you help them.
That's just such a wonderful way to finish this incredible conversation, Tiphanie. Honestly, I could talk to you for years.
In my work clothes.
What's the best way for people to reach you? If people want to get in contact with you, follow on the conversation with you, what's the best way to contact you?
Well, you can always go to my website, TiphanyJamison.com, but no one ever spells my name right. So go to RevenueRadical.com, and yeah, it'll redirect you to me, and yeah, I'd love to talk to you in the Yay Rad community. Lots of yay, lots of rad.
You are an amazing human being, Tiphanie. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
Let's keep in contact.
Okay, I will do. Bye, guys.
Cheers.